poo poo.
Oh, they might have caught that on stream. We might be
Oh,
canceled. Good evening, everybody. Happy Tuesday. It's another week and another Delve Requisite episode. This week, as you can see, we're here with our swashbuckling adventurers, the crew of the Grimm's Folly, for another Pirates episode of Delve Requisite. Before we roll into things tonight, let's take a quick moment to thank our sponsors here at Proficiency Bonus, Little Dragon Corp and Cardboard Castle. Little Dragon Corp is a Canadian-based dice company that I would love to link to if I can figure out what tab Twitch is in.
I did it already.
Somebody's got it for me. Little Dragon Corp is a Canadian-based dice company. They also sell all sorts of other tabletop gamey stuff, but plenty of dice to choose from if you're in the market for a pair. A set? A pair? A pair would be two. A set is, I guess, the full 7. Maybe a pair. I don't know. You live your life. I don't tell you what to do. But you can check them out at the link that is in Twitch chat right now. You can type !Little Dragon to get a link to their website. And if you use our code PROBONUS at checkout, you'll get a 10% discount on your order. And, of course, our other sponsor, Cardboard Castle, !CCG in chat to get a link to their website. They are a brick and mortar game store located here in the United States in Evans, Georgia. If you live near Evans, Georgia, by chance, you can go there and visit them in person. Otherwise, you can check out their website online and purchase things from them that way. We thank both of our sponsors for supporting Proficiency Bonus. And this week's episode also brought to you by this wine that my mother-in-law left in my fridge at Easter. So, it's going to get weird.
Wow, thanks, Eric, for 2 years of subscribing to Proficiency
Whoa.
Bonus. You rock,
Eric.
Eric.
Might have me beat.
We're gonna name an NPC Eric tonight.
There you go.
Oh, we're really close to a hype train. Oh shit, I'm about to pop us a hype train. Hold
I don't
hype
know
train.
what that means. Also seems
everybody gets
I think-
conductor hat.
I think, doesn't it like make things cheaper? Like, doesn't it make like bits and stuff cheaper? I don't know. I can't remember what it does. It does something. Oh,
Did
there
it.
it goes.
I did it.
Hype train incoming.
Hype train.
I don't know
Something
what
They
it
have
does.
limited time to earn seasonal emote.
Oh, limited time to earn an emote. Yeah, I think we have to get like so many subs or bits. In 5 minutes, we have 5 minutes to earn. Oh, we're almost there. Whoa,
did
we
it.
got it. Oh, there it is.
Hey.
Eric helped us too. Look at that.
Hey, this hype train has no brakes.
About to go off the rails.
Well, that was level 1 completed. I think it moves on to level 2.
Hey, what
That's
if we
pretty
just
cool.
didn't do D&D and we just watched this progress bar fill up for the next 3 hours? All right, well, you guys keep messing with that. I'm going to focus up and get... Whoa!
Whoa, Dogs for
Emotes,
Life earned a
emotes.
ton of emotes from all the other hype trains that we did. Look at that. That's crazy, Dogs for Life, man.
Oh, boy. All right, well, on tonight's episode of Hype Train... the party has just departed from the island of Glasgow, where the pirate haven is located after having their ship retrofit. I'm so distracted by chat. The wine was a terrible idea, you guys. It's too late now. They are heading. They're heading. Perhaps a couple of places. Not really much of a recap to do here. The party has spent the last couple of sessions kind of hanging around on Glasgow. They visited the strange little girl who sort of lives in or under the abandoned manor on Glasgow. They hired their crew. They did some other things. They did a handful of vision quests. They gave Tea Kettle the official crew rank of Goddess Queen Boat Baby. And yeah, they had their vessel repaired, and now they are out to sea. They had pulled away from the port as we last left them. So the open sea is lays before you. The wind in your sails, the sun on your backs, the waves on your boat.
The waves on your boat.
I don't know what we're doing tonight.
I don't know
where are you guys
gonna say
going?
the waves
What are
on
you-
your boat,
what
which
are you
was
guys
gonna
up
be
to?
weird.
What are you guys up to tonight?
Just vibes, you know?
Just vibes. You all right? I don't know.
We're on like the open sea. We just hear like a slight
Vibe.
choo choo.
Set sail for the Isle of Vibes.
What is that noise? It sounds like the hype train. I can hear
What's
it.
a train?
I have no idea. I've heard about it somewhere.
I bet your rutabaga can tell you all about a train.
Jesus.
No, leave Rutabaga out of this.
Just when I thought we were safe.
Leave Rutabaga out of this is what was said during the last instance of a train.
Oh, Thyxes just found 5 gold.
Hey.
Why was baby a
I am-
banned term in the chat?
I have no idea.
It was? It's Thyxes because he's my baby boy, and that was banned.
It was
What a-
held. It
What
was
a
weird.
statement.
Oh, well, speaking of hype train, I just found 5 gold in the deck. Woo,
There you go.
there we go.
You see a deckhand glaring daggers at Thyxes.
Pretty sure Thyxes just stole 5 gold from somebody.
Oh boy.
Finders keepers.
That is the basic rule of piracy.
He's learning.
He's learning.
Learning.
The big,
The
this
International
enormous leather-bound,
Gibbs.
dusty tome. It says the Pirate's Code on it. You flip it open, it creaks. You blow the dust at it. First page says Rule 1, Finders Keepers.
Finders keepers.
And 2 is dibs.
Dibs.
Yes.
Where are you guys sailing? Where do you want to head? There was some discussion of a few locations you're considering. I can zoom in a
Is
little bit
it-
on the.
Is it like night? Did you say it was like nighttime?
No, it's like mid-morning when you guys set sail.
Oh, okay. Well then I will throw like a little bucket on a rope overboard and I will pull up some seawater and then I will take the bucket over to the captain and I like shape water. I'm flavoring this so it's cooler now. I shape water so it's like a little ball like floating in the air and then I'm gonna druid craft to get the like weather. I can get the weather around our location for the next 24 hours. And it will like show up in the orb of water, of seawater.
So you hold this orb of seawater out over by the helm of the ship, and you see that the surface of it goes glassy, and you see the sky reflected in the top of this like orb of water that you're holding, and in almost like time lapse, you see like the clouds begin to rush by on the surface of this glassy orb, and you're able to see clear skies and an indication of a brisk wind blowing from south to north over the next 24 hours. Clear skies and a good wind at your backs.
Aye.
Show this to the captain.
Thank you, Lady Scylla. Looks like we got good weather.
Right, but where are we going so I can chart a course?
I believe, and he calls out to the rest of the crew. I believe we agreed to go, rescue Master Grawl. Correct?
Correct.
Yes, please.
And, I guess I'll bring Scylla to the captain's cabin, and I'm pretty sure that's the island we left him on.
Yes, you did
I
specifically
remember.
you made note of where it was. So that's
Yeah.
not a problem. Yeah, it takes you you guys sail the ship. Takes you a few days of uneventful, clear skies, good winds. you head a little bit. You're heading a little bit like southwest to get towards where the island that you guys are heading for specifically is. It's even too small to see it on the map, but it's like I'm getting reverb off of somebody. I can hear myself. I don't know who it is though. But you head down that way. You sail. You come to a familiar sight. You see the island that you had met the Mythlindian Royal Navy's ship on to exchange the slaver prisoners that Captain Thorne and the Shrike had taken along with you guys. And you know that somewhere on this small island there is that ancient decrepit temple that had that shrine that turned the Barjack's ship doctor in some sort of a monster that you were forced to fight, and is the island where you left Groll Halfhand.
Was this island on the way to where we were going, or was it kind of out of the way?
It's where we were doing the exchange with the Navy.
If you're
is it on the way to go to where
to Naporia?
If your next goal is Naporia, it's not like dead the opposite direction, but it's sort of like this island, Glazow, and Naporia make sort of like a triangle.
Okay.
Oh, is it that little nubbin that's like off to the left?
It's a little nubbin. So I can actually zoom in more. It's a little bitty nubbin. Stream. If you look at stream. So Glazow is sort of in the middle of the screen now. Then you see there is the larger mass of the island of Valaquilon. Then it kind of like breaks off into a few smaller pieces. Those islands do have names, but I don't have the full list of stuff pulled up. And then like super tiny off to the right of those, like almost dead center of the screen, there's like these two little spits of land.
Oh yeah, they look like texture on the map.
One of those is the islands you're headed to.
Okay, so we're kind of going away from Naporia first.
Yeah, so like I said, it almost makes like a triangle with the 3 points of the triangle being like Glazow, sort of one side, and then like Naporia and this island making the other.
Okay,
cool. You're right, too lazy to play myself. Size doesn't matter. It's a good island even if it's small.
Well, I mean, the last time we were here, we did see some unspeakable horrors.
Yeah, it's not the size of the island that matters. Yes. It is the unspeakableness of the horrors.
Yes.
So yeah, you guys make it to that island, no problem. You're able to moor the ship, and what's your plan from here?
Oh, we can leave it with our creepy dragonborn friend.
You can leave it with your creepy dragonborn second mate. You can leave Apora Dazan in charge of the ship. She says, ensure that things are maintained appropriately and that all is well while you are ashore.
Spooky yet somehow reassuring.
I'm just sort of even keeled. I don't know why that seems creepy to you.
That was even creepier. Okay, who's going on the island? Island of unspeakable horrors, here we come.
Imagine Thyxes is there too, just like staring at the Dragonborn and just walking backwards towards his...
For the record, on the way here, like within like the last day of approach, once we Murderbeard or Scylla told us we were like getting closer, Rowan would have just been praying a lot, because this island is creepy, and she doesn't like it.
Okay. Yeah, you guys get in a longboat, row out to the shore. You're on the island.
Would you like me to try to track?
Probably best if you do it. I'll just start yelling for him, and I don't have really skills in that.
And also, if anybody could keep a lookout for the very, very large crocodiles, alligators, whatever it was that tried to eat us last time.
That was just like behind you. Just keeping you on your toes. Could be a
Rowan
ghost
will-
with a
Jumped
bucket,
out
you
of my
never
chest
know.
a little.
Rowan's gonna walk over to Thyxes and just kind of like throw her arm around his shoulders and be like, "I've got you, buddy," and walk alongside him.
Oh,
I will
Between-
wild shape.
Between him and Murderbeard, just like we're not doing Let's Scare Thyxes.
I
party
go up
the
to
whole time.
Thyxes and I put my hand on his shoulder. I'm like, until you learn to stop falling for that, I'm going to keep doing it.
I wild shape into Old Faithful, the dire wolf. Because
Alrighty.
they're. I mean, I'm technically just as perceptive, but they have advantage. So
Alright.
I start sniffing.
Alrighty. You can make a survival check to try and
Oh no!
locate.
Oh, wait, they
and
have the
I believe you get advantage because you can use your sense of smell as a wolf.
Well, so the wolf has advantage on wisdom perception checks that rely on hearing or smell, but they still have a +6 to survival, so we're still good. It's just not advantage.
So, mechanically, I think that's weird, because this is like you're using a skill check to the intent. I'm house ruling this. The intention there is that like the wolf should have advantage on like tracking things.
Finding
So you're
stuff,
tracking
yeah.
things. So take advantage on the roll regardless.
Okay, cool. I will never say no to that. I just want to make sure I follow the rules. 2 10s. That's a 16.
Oh, 16. 16 is good. It actually does not take you all that long, as you might expect. You guys kind of track along Scylla. You immediately see evidence of somebody on this island going about various tasks that one would expect to, like, conduct island survival for themselves. You see there is, like, wood has been gathered. There's places that are, like, disturbed. And you end up tracking, rather than, like, in to the island, you end up sort of, like, making your way kind of around the, like, skirting the very edge of the jungle and the beach. You go about a quarter of the way around the island, and you guys stumble upon a rudimentary shelter that has been built, and there is clearly a camp set up here. A shelter has been constructed out of felled trees and palm fronds that have been lashed together to create a waterproof, weatherproof roof over a simple, just sort of, space where some fronds have been like lashed together to kind of make a very basic bed. There is a small fire, which you see has been kind of like dug into a pit. It is currently like you see just the littlest bit of smoke that like the ember, the tinder has been like kept going, even though the fire is not in full flame right now. There's like a log has been dragged there and set that one might sit on. And there is evidence. There's like a bunch of shucked like coconuts kind of put around. You see a little area where there's like maybe 10, 15, 20 feet away from the camp. There's a little like almost like satchel has been woven together that you see. There's some like mangoes and other like fruits and stuff that have been collected and suspended from a tree up off the ground. You do not see the inhabitant of this camp, but it is clearly a camp that is occupied by one person, and you definitely smell like the distinct sort of scent that you recognize as belonging to Girl Halfhand.
Does the fire you said is still like smoking a little bit, so it's fresh?
It's smoldering like it is being kept
going.
like the embers are being kept live, even when it's not in use. And there's like wood nearby that's been gathered up, so like when perhaps it was to be cooked on or whatever, like the wood could be added to like rekindle it.
I take my giant direwolf like snout and I just start nudging like Rowan, but it probably is like stumbling because I'm like really like I'm just kind of pushing her towards the camp. I can't speak. Just pushing her.
I got it. Rowan will kind of just look around, and because she has no other way of going about this, she's just going to start yelling. Crawl!
You yell into the woods. You yell for Grohl. Are you guys just is the plan to just sort of hang out here and like wait for him to come back essentially?
If any of the others tell me to start like looking in the woods, I'll do that. But yeah, otherwise I'm just vibing.
About, let's call it 10 minutes after you like just start shouting. Rather than from in the jungle, from slightly around kind of the bend, there's sort of a little copse of trees that like sort of sticks out a little bit and blocks your sight from just a tiny ways around. But coming from sort of around that way, and clearly having like come out of the water, you see he's wearing just sort of like his trousers, no shirt. He has over one shoulder a sort of a very rudimentary, like tri-pronged fishing spear that's been crafted out of a stalk of like palm wood that's been like split and had a wedge driven into it to create these like tined forks. And he has a couple of fish like held in his other hand. You see Growl Halfhand arrives, and he comes around the bend. He sees the group of you there. You see his eyes like shoot up in surprise, and he quickly comes over. He takes like another like wooden stake that he's fashioned, and he like spears the fish, sticks him in the ground, and he comes over and he looks to you and he says, "Well, when you all said that you'd return someday to find me, I would have hardly imagined that it would be no more than a score of days. Already back."
I am
We
a
made
bad
it quick
cook.
work.
I'm
And that.
I'm a bad cook. We need you, and we've got a ship. So
It's been an eventful couple of weeks.
He he looks at you and he says, "Wait. Someone is going to have to explain the full story to me. Not that I am not grateful to get off of this island, but your lot in life seems to have significantly changed station, and that is probably a hell of a story."
Boy, it sure is.
Rowan's just standing there flashing back to Murderbeard screaming, "Get some," as we ran. she's like, I'm not telling him that part. And she's just flashing back, thinking over everything since I last saw him. And she kind of just smiles and reaches out and pats him on the shoulder and says, "Wait till you find out what kind of ship we took, too."
And who we took it from.
he says, "Before I come with you, I just want to make sure you know the ship that I was on before we were here. You know the things that I've been party to. Are you sure that this second chance is something that you want to give to me?"
I just look at the Rowan and kind of smirk a little bit.
Well, we're definitely going to have to talk over some of that, and you definitely have some members on our ship to apologize to in person. And if you step out of line, if the rest of the crew agrees with me, it's my job to deal with it. Because I'm the one voting for you to get this chance. If you mess up, it's on me. And you and I will have a very different conversation. And she kind of just keeps her hand on her sword as she says it. And
He
just looks him
nods
dead
and
in the eye.
he sort of scratches the several weeks worth of beard growth that are on his chin with his mangled 3-fingered hand, and he says, "I understand. A lot of you've better souls than many men I've ever sailed with before. I can't rightly say that where the positions were reversed, I'd think I was worthy of a second chance. Of a lot of evil to atone for in my past. And I don't rightly know that the type of things I stood by and let happen are something that you can never atone for. But if I can spend whatever years I've got left doing some good, well, maybe that'll make whatever circle of hell's waiting for me just a little more bearable when all was said and done."
I
mean,
just
in this-
turn and look at Murderbeard and wait for him because he gets final vote.
I mean, to be fair, you haven't tasted Rowan's cooking. You're sort of doing us like a big favor. She's really big on beans.
They're easy, okay?
Wishing I could talk and suggest those juicy orange grubs that the goblin we interviewed suggested, but I can't because I don't have lips.
Technically, beans are a good source of protein. They store easily. They are cheap and simple and nutritious staple of any shipboard diet.
Rowan feels very vindicated right now. Thank you.
I mean, you're not just cooking straight plain beans and serving it to people in a bowl, are you? Because that would be hateful.
Oh no, it's far worse than that.
I don't understand that. How was it worse?
Just get on the ship.
Also, one time she made chili, there were no beans.
But depending on who you talk to, chili does not have beans. It's a bit of a contention among certain culinary enthusiasts. Some say
All right,
chili
Rowan,
does
you
have
get to
beans.
cook dinner for him
Some
tonight.
say chili doesn't have beans.
No, we're not torturing him right now. He's coming on the ship to do us a favor.
There's really
I
two
think-
main camps when it comes to chili, you see.
So I go up to him and
Hooray.
I just start nudging him like with my forehead towards the ship.
He gets the hit. He takes off with you guys. So you guys return. You return to the ship. You return to the Grimm's Folly. You bring Groll Halfhand, hopefully reformed, or looking to be a reformed ex-slaver. You bring him aboard the Grimm's Folly, and you
Just a note, Matt. The whole time back, Thyxes would be intrigued by the beans conversation, and he would be asking Groll questions about it the whole way they walked back to the ship.
Well, you see, you've got all sorts of types of beans. I mean, you've got your black beans, pinto beans, kidney beans, lima beans, white
Maybe you guys
beans.
go ahead and I'll just stay on the island forever.
Some people consider chickpeas to be a bean, but mostly I think they just taste like dirt, so I don't like to cook with them.
Interesting.
Cannelloni beans. Green beans. Actually, technically several
Are we-
beans in a pod.
Are we just naming beans at this point?
I'm a ship's cook. My sphere of knowledge is particularly limited to a certain area of expertise.
Apparently, he's an expert on beans, Captain.
Apparently, Master Tiger. Apparently.
Lentils.
Yeah,
Lentils
yeah,
are
yeah.
fabulous.
Let's play the quiet game until we get back to the ship.
Rowan hands him an oar to kind of like get the hint. Like, let's just get back to the ship now.
Of course, mung beans. Staple. Navy beans. Did I say lentils, or I just have a list of beans that I googled?
What is Google? Girl have hand?
Chat's starting to do the shrimp scene from Forrest Gump.
Shrimp scampi.
Google is an ancient culinary text that was written by a botanist that invented a lot of types of bean dishes. You guys row back to the Grimm's Folly and safely get Grohl half-hand aboard. And the culinary offerings upon the Grimm's Folly significantly increases in quality with the addition of Grohl half-hand to your crew. Despite a very brief argument very early on in his tenure where one of the crew members suggested that refried beans were a different kind of beans, and things got a little violent. It's a shout out for chat. Things go smooth. Grohl is a model member of the crew. He mostly kind of keeps to himself. He talks to Kivo and Kenna a little bit, as well as Ogatumbe. They have sort of a kind of a brief conversation. Kivo and Kenna seem kind of, they sort of take things at face value. They're a little young to really necessarily hold that type of a grudge. Ogatumbe is a little more reserved, but he kind of seems to take the stance that if the group of you are all going to be traveling on this ship together, he will at the very least keep his keep a civil tongue in his head and maintain the peace. So you guys are able to.
Rowan finds 10 gold.
Boy, that
In a bag of beans.
is really gonna mess up the monetary economy that we have set for this game. Rowan may have just doubled the amount of gold that she has on her person.
I think so. I'm gonna check.
That's okay.
Thank you. Is that for me for being sorry that I'm a bad cook? Is that what that's for?
Rowan
It's just chat vibing.
Rowan finds 10 gold. It does turn.
It's
out
for
to
beans.
It does turn out to be beans that she thought was coins. Golden beans. Is that a thing? I don't know. Maybe. I closed the list of beans that I had up. So the next goal is off the Naporia, right? That's the plan?
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, very, very good then. Having acquired the final member of your crew, Grohl half-hand the cook, you guys turn and head north by northeast and begin sailing towards the island of Naporia, the island home and birthplace of Nymue.
Who just
There it
found
is.
5 gold.
Who just found 5 gold.
Why are we bothering to pirate it at all if we just got gold falling out of places on the ship?
Secretly, there's like
Oh,
one
our
rich dude that's stowed away that just keeps dropping
Yeah,
stuff.
we just keep
Yeah.
like you find those little coins in the random on the ocean, just
One of the other pirates cut a little hole in the bottom of somebody's coin pouch, and they're just walking around, not realizing they're dropping all this money.
We
Like
have the
the
world's
Diablo goblin?
shittiest leprechaun
That's it,
on
yeah.
board.
So Naporia. You guys, takes you the better part of a week to sail northward to Naporia from where you picked up Grohl on that little nameless spit of land island. The island is visible from a distance as you come in. It is a clear day. You arrive, you come within range of the island about midday on the about the 8th day of travel after you departed from picking up Grohl. And the island is first visible as this sort of like, it's almost this indistinct sort of smudge, in that, like, unlike most like masses of land, it doesn't necessarily look like sort of the dark verdant green that you're used to seeing, but it almost has like a grayish hint, hue to it. And as you get closer, you see that the island is actually not so much gray, but as the sort of your view of it clarifies as you get closer, you can make out the green of the verdant forests, intermingled with what actually turns out to be this whitish pink, as the island is covered in these cherry blossom trees, which are in full bloom at this time of year. The island itself is sort of vaguely crescent moon shaped, where the sort of the main harbor of the city is within the interior of this crescent shape that you guys are heading for. The island itself is extremely mountainous in terrain. There is all these, you can sort of see like the entire Naporian settlement that has been constructed here is up on these various like rises, basically built into and against and within the contours of this mountainous landscape. You see it is rich with these flowing waterfalls and river formations, which have had bridges built over them, and the entire island is just sort of shrouded in this almost picturesque sensation as you approach it. As the ship pulls in, and you sort of like make your way into the harbor, what you see, and I will pull up actually the full map here. What you see as you pull into Naporia, there are on either prong of this like crescent moon shape, as well as on this small little piece of land that sits like smack dab in the center, between the two, there are these shrines, and they look almost like gateways. They have like two uprights and then a slightly curved, angled cross beam, I guess, at the top. The island in the center has this same sort of gateway archway, but you see that there is what looks like some sort of a little an actual structure, a little arch-roofed, angular sort of shrine building on this central island. As you sort of sail past this and make your way in, you head towards the what are the sort of northern set of docks. I believe that's labeled 4 on the map there. Where you are heading for what Nymue is able to tell you. There are these two sort of main clusters of buildings that you see. The one sort of towards the north here, and then in the center there is this sort of flat area that has been cultivated. You see all these like fields of some sort of like a grain or something in there, and then there's another cluster of buildings. And Nymue is able to tell you that the northern village, the one that you're heading towards with the your vessel there, is the village of Kazumo. It is one of 2 sort of what are considered to be like sub-villages on Naporia here. The one to the south, the one that you're not heading for, being the village of Hideke. You move into the sort of the port here, and there are a couple of things that you notice. The island itself, sort of the back portion of that crescent, they are labeled, I believe, 1, 2, and 3 on the map. There are 3 distinct like rises that are the highest points of elevation on this map, and upon each of those rises there is a building or a complex of buildings. They are all a very similar sort of design, in that they have these sort of slanted, square-shaped kind of roofs, several of them. Specifically, the one in the middle is this like 5-tiered, has this 5-tiered like tower as part of it. If you guys will imagine in your mind's eye, the aesthetic of like Japanese Buddhist architecture. That's very much the sort of the aesthetic of Naporia here.
Yeah, I think Kyoto, like all the shrines.
Right. Nymue, you notice, or you all notice this, but Nymue, you're the only one who has the context for like what this is. The streets, as you guys like pull into the harbor here, you see the streets and the buildings of Kazumo here are all decorated. There are vibrant streamers and lanterns of all these different colors. There are bundles of brightly colored flowers that have been lashed together and strung between the buildings over the streets. There are vibrant oranges and blues and purples and turquoises and pinks, and the entire village here is decorated. And as you see the decorations of this festival, it occurs to you that you perhaps have been away from Naporia for a time, and you may have sort of lost track of the passage of time a little bit as you realize you see these decorations. It is the Festival of the Spirit Binding. It is the festival that celebrates the coming of age of the youth here in Naporia on their 16th year. The children who have come of age in that year undertake the ritualistic ceremony of potentially being bound to a spirit, Kami, becoming Kalashtar, a process that you went through on your own 16th birthday years ago. The whole of Naporia, you know, breaks into basically a week-long festival. There is merriment and drinking and dancing and food on the streets and festivities, and the whole thing is very lively and very celebratory in nature, juxtaposed with this extremely reserved and serene ritualistic undertaking by the young men and women themselves, who are preparing to make their pilgrimage out to that island that you guys passed on your way in, that has the Shrine of Harmony on it. And this seems to be in full swing as you guys pull into the harbor. The other thing that you guys notice is that also docked at the port here is an Ignean ship.
And our ship, was an Ignean ship, right?
Your ship is also an Ignean ship.
So it looks Ignean, if someone saw it, they'd be like, yeah, like Ignean ship.
You guys did have them take pains to try and obfuscate its profile a little bit so that you can kind of pass as maybe not an Ignean ship. But anybody who really knows what they're looking at and spends too much time kind of observing your ship definitely would be able to tell that it is of Ignean design.
Nymue, is there something happening?
This is a little awkward. Shit, I should have been back here for this.
What do you
Alright.
mean?
Well, insert Matt's description here.
Ah, I see what you're saying.
So it is a spirit binding festival for the youths.
For the youths!
For the youth. And not all of them
Or as they would say in Valand, the Utes.
The Utes.
Yeah, it's pretty big. It's a week long. I don't know how many days we're into this.
Well, you're back now, so that probably counts for something.
Do do all the children pass? Is that the right?
No.
So what
No.
happens if they don't?
They are given separate training. They go to different schools and temples. No, they do not get killed. But
no,
if
maybe
they
they
are
do.
not chosen to be bound by a spirit, the spirit chooses them. That is it. The spirit will judge them based off their own soul and their spirit, and sometimes it just doesn't match. Doesn't mean it's a bad thing, but it's very secret. Very important for all of us to go through it at least once.
So is it going to be weird for outsiders to be here during this?
It's not common. I'd say it's pretty rare to have outsiders come to Naporia, so that makes me a little nervous why an Ignian ship is on dock. Especially now.
Did Nymue tell us about how like there was like the note about like
Yes.
let's find
Yeah.
some
Yeah.
okay.
You guys are aware of that. That is ostensibly why you're here. Is you are here to like
Yeah,
try
okay.
and tell the leadership of Naporia about this information that you found.
Do you find it concerning that there would be an Ignian ship here, knowing that some of the powers that be there are looking to collect?
Right. And if they're here to see the results of these ceremonies, and if one or even two pass, they will have a lock on which ones that did. That makes
You
me
don't think
nervous.
you don't think it would be possible that one of your people might be working with the Ignians?
Absolutely not.
Good. Then they shouldn't have a problem with us murdering their faces off.
I hope so. Let's try and get in to the dock and hope that we are not.
Is this the only dock? Is there like a dock away from that ship?
You could theoretically like divert real quick, and you could go to the southern set of docks that are
probably
outside the
that.
village of Hidekai.
Hideki?
If you want to do Hideki,
Hideaki.
Hideki.
Hideaki.
Hideaki. So we could go south to Hideaki, and it's probably safer to park the ship there just in case, and we can walk our way up.
Smart.
Captain,
I'll
you
put
got
it
a
right next to the Ignians.
Captain, you got a spyglass or anything?
Did you say you pull in right next to the Ignians?
No, I said better
Oh.
not to pull in right next to the Ignians.
I thought you went smart. I pull in right next to the Ignians.
That's what I heard too. I was
Again, the
like,
most
oh, well, okay.
baller move anybody's ever heard of.
Already the cannons.
I just started having heart
We
These are not
drive the
the
ship
fireworks I
directly into the
before.
Indian ship like, surprise, we're here, bitches.
Please,
And we've
can we
rammed
not
yet
do
another
Find
ship.
My village. Can we not?
Yeah, no, we're going to the far dock.
Easily enough. As Kristy has decided, the village of Hideaki. You guys pull the ship into there. You are able to make port, and no issue. You guys are on Naporia, at Naporia.
Is there anything specific we should know?
Maybe keep your weapons sheathed. And I guess stick close to me.
Should
With my
we
moves, you should be safe.
should we just mimic any sort of greetings that you do, or is it fine to just do what we do?
Traditionally, we do deep bows. the higher rank, the deeper the bow. But because you are foreigners, a small nod or a small bow should suffice.
We
They
got that
will-
Gaijin free pass.
You get the Gaijin free pass. That is correct. They understand that you are not an islander like us, or at least not our islander, so they will.
And what about using magic where others can see?
That should be fine. But
I look at Thyxes.
I don't recommend doing that, at least not yet, until we are established that you are safe. Until we talk to the council or my father, it's probably best you lay low on the magic.
Will do. As long as those Ignians don't, cause a problem.
Right, well, let them shoot us first, and then we have defensive means.
That'll be a plausible deniability.
There you go.
Defending ourselves. Just don't hit first, and we should be good. Good rule of thumb for martial arts. All right, let's make it our way.
Maybe where? Where do you want to go?
Ah, yes, the traditional Naporian song.
Make it our way.
Why does this come up in every D&D campaign we ever do?
The amount-
Everyone breaks out into a musical number as soon as you like walk into the
believe
village.
the amount of times within like Russell and I's like sphere of like people that we game with that and I miss you and I need you
It's
comes up.
It's like one of
And
the top 10 songs of all time.
We're gonna get copyright struck. We need to.
We are, yeah, no more
We
of that.
can't copyright strike our bad singing.
Fair
Can you-
use, baby.
My ultimate
parody,
goal.
It's protected.
My ultimate goal within this campaign is sometimes we have to have just the back of a carriage with a piano in it being pulled and somebody playing.
It'll be Brahm, and we're like,
Yeah, so let's make our way north up to Cosmo.
making our way up north, up to Cosmo.
We're making our way downtown today. We'll pirate shanty that before.
I like that. Yeah.
Nah.
Okay, so you are heading. You're heading where specifically?
Probably north. Hang on.
I mean, if you guys tell me like what it is that you are specifically trying to like achieve, I can tell you where the like sensible place to go would be.
Probably, actually, I would
her.
actually take them to. I probably shouldn't, but I'm going to. I'm going to take them to the school.
Okay, so you're taken to the Lunar Warrior Academy.
Yeah, that's probably where Dad is, and
Sure. So easy enough. You guys make your way north around the interior of the bay. Here, you pass over a couple of bridges over these streams, these little streams that feed into the ocean here.
and
you-
when we get to the school, and if we go into the dojo, take your shoes off.
I don't wear shoes, so we're fine here.
Okay.
Okay.
It
Okay,
shows me-
so you guys make your way to the Lunar Warrior school, the school where both the realm famous Lunar Warrior mercenaries, as well as the perhaps lesser known and maybe almost more mythological Lunar Warrior soulbound mercenaries are trained. You approach the school. It is number 1 on the map here, so it is like sort of the north part of the map on the I guess it would be. It's like the west side, right and left with the way that my camera's facing is confusing to me. It's that way.
North.
So it's like northwest-ish, on that highest, one of those highest levels of this. You guys do have to go through. You make your way through the village of Cosmo, which is this sprawling little village of all these shops and homes and things like that. They're in the full swing of this this festival of the spirit binding ceremony. So there are street carts with all sorts of little like street foods that you guys can partake in if you were so interested. There is you intersect with you lose a little bit of time. You intersect with there's like essentially like a parade going on. And there is a bunch of people in these like brightly colored outfits. They have it's this thing that's like operated by a bunch of people. This doesn't really look like anything you're familiar with, but it's sort of this like what you assume to be some sort of a representation of like a spirit being. It's made out of all like a paper mache and things like that that they're like running down the street with. And you make your way up, sort of up several switchback rises, kind of winding your way up to a higher elevation until you reach the plateau upon which the Lunar Warriors School is based. It is none of the buildings here are particularly tall. They're all like 1 to 2 stories. Like a couple of them or maybe have like a 3rd story. But they're mostly sort of low, flat, long buildings. You see there is an area towards the back of this this place that has sort of like a large box-shaped building that the center appears to be hollow. And sections of this this building itself are open, like archways that you can kind of see. There's what appears to be like a sparring or a training ground inside of it. There is a Nymue. You immediately are able to head towards like the main building. And as you enter, there is not much going on currently, as like with much of the rest of the island, the school is currently observing the festival. So a lot of the students and a lot of the full-fledged Lunar Warriors who would otherwise be here training and instructing and things like that are off elsewhere. But you enter into this into the main building here, and in the process of like going around and resetting a bunch of the like incense burners around this this place is the individual that you know is sort of like the second in command of the school here. A woman whose name I lost because my thing got messed up. A woman who you know is goes by the name of is named Michiko. She is there doing these sort of incense. As you guys enter, she turns and she sees you. You see like one eyebrow like arches ever so slightly as she sees you. She stops what she's doing. She comes over and she says, Nymue.
Michiko-san?
She says, it has been some time since you have been on the island.
Alright, long time no see.
She says, Ray is not here.
Is he down with the students?
She says, he is at the seat of the elders.
Shit.
They are meeting with a dignitary.
Dignian.
She nods.
Do you know what they want?
She says, not the full story. They seem to be interested in some sort of arrangement with Naporian. I do not believe the negotiations are going very well.
I should hope not. I've got some news. I suppose you ought to know, being second in command. There seems to be a slave order on our warriors.
Again, you get that sort of arch of the eyebrow, and she says, "Is there now? How do you come by this information?"
Well, I went to go look for Aiden, and came across this crew. They took me on their ship, and we've been through a lot, but we found some documents that are not too good. It seems like they've been actively searching for lunar warriors, whoever they are.
Jesus. I see. If this information is true, then you should make haste to the chamber. I believe they will be finished with this dignitary before too long. You should speak with them.
All right. It's good to see you.
She gives you a smile that has quite a bit of weight behind it, and she says, "It is good to see you too."
How is Tosan? How is that?
She kind of like thinks for a moment, and she says, "He is as he always is."
Great. All right. Well, I'm gonna have to deal with him eventually, so let's just get it over with. I will probably see you later, if I'm not ejected off this island.
She actually gives a little bit of a laugh at that, and she says, "I do not think that will be the case."
Or grounded for life, one of the two, right? I just start heading
I
out.
can make no promises about that one. Right. So you are able to leave there. Are you guys heading towards the?
Yep.
Okay. So you head towards the seat of the elders, which for you guys is it's very hard to see on here. It's number 3 on your map, which is not the central highest point, which has that like tall multi-tiered tower, but it is the like southernmost one. So you guys like you have to go past that central one, which Nymue would be able to tell you is in fact it is sort of like the spiritual center of Naporia. It is a serves as both like the seat of the religion is not quite the right word, but the spiritual leader. It is a temple called Tokahaji. It is a multi-tiered sort of like pagoda structure. You pass that as you're like looping around the side of this the outer crescent of Naporia here, and you head towards the seat of the elders, which is a larger but more kind of like squat building than the temple necessarily is, but it is much more like centralized and self-contained than the more sprawling school. You guys enter. You are able to you're sort of like shown into sort of like a waiting antechamber by an attendant here. Once you tell them that you have like pressing business for the council, that you were sent over by Michiko from the school, and you basically are just kind of like sat down to wait. You are given the instruction to like just wait until they're ready to see you, that they're in with somebody right now. And you guys are going to end up waiting for like probably like 20 minutes ish here. Is there anything that anybody is doing in that period of time before I like move forward?
I guess Thyxes would ask Nymue, would have the Ignians ever had any interest in here before? Like long ago?
DM?
Hmm?
I don't think so. Have they?
It is. It's not necessarily like completely unheard of that like an Ignean vessel might be here. Naporia has relatively little interest in directly interacting with the rest of the kingdoms. They kind of keep to themselves. They do their own thing. They send their warriors out into the world to sort of earn renown and coin and stuff to bring back with them. But it is not like completely unheard of that merchants or other individuals might arrive here. Without knowing like what it is that like this dignitary is here for, it's difficult to say specifically what the precedent for this might be, but you are not aware of any like historical instances of like the ruling government of Naporia like directly interacting with other kingdoms like the Empire or anything like that.
Yeah, we're very insular, so it's very rare for foreigners to come here. It's not unheard of, but it's not common. Usually we send people out, not people come in. Scylla?
Scylla's got a face on her. Do something.
I'm going to mind link with Scylla. I wouldn't normally. Actually, that's a lie. I wouldn't. If I could do what you do, I would do exactly what I'm going to ask you. Is there any way for you?
I mentally interrupt her, and I'm like, I was already planning on it. I just wanted to ask before I did it.
No, please. I need to know. This is killing me. Could you do that and not get caught?
Of course. Is anyone looking?
No, you guys were sort of brought into. So if you imagine the inside of this building is like, there's not necessarily a ton of like solid walls. They are very much in the style of the sort of like sliding paneled, like papered walls of a lot of like, if you think of like Japanese traditional architecture. So you were sort of like brought into this area to like kind of wait. And like the person who brought you there sort of like bowed their way out and slid a panel closed. So you guys are by yourselves in a room right now.
Okay. Can I like go over to the I could go over to the corner of like a panel and I just kind of push some of the paper off and then I wild shape into a spider and I climb out.
Yeah, absolutely you can.
I'm going to maintain mind link with her.
Okay.
So we can communicate back and forth for an hour.
Cool.
As a spider. So you're
awesome.
If you see or hear anything,
I'm going to wherever looks like the most important room, wherever if I hear people talking.
Absolutely.
I feel like you would totally hear people through some like paper door.
Yeah, it's not going to be difficult. Make me 2 checks. Make me a perception check or an investigation check, whichever one you want. And make me a stealth check.
Okay, so perception. So 13 and spider. Oh wait, I'm not using the spider. I'm dumb.
Use yours.
It's the same for all of the shapes that I've been doing. It's 19 perception.
Okay.
And then for stealth, now I'm gonna use the same dice because it has a moon on it. We're on Naporia. Not as good. But I used the spider's stealth for this. That's a 11.
Okay, totally fine. More than enough. Since you're a spider, you basically just needed to not roll a 1. But with those rolls, easy enough. You wild shape into a spider. You've like made a little hole, and you begin to skitter around. Little spider legs taking you through the wood, hardwood floored chambers of this complex. You make your way back through several chambers until you reach a sort of a large, pretty centralized space. There is nothing exceptionally like ornate or fancy about this space. It is very, it's very understated, very like Spartan in design. It's basically just like a larger, open, square room. There is like a off to one side. There's like a square cutout in the floor that has had like sand placed in it, and there's like several rocks have been strategically placed in a singular like carefully manicured shrub. And you see that somebody has taken a rake and has like scraped these like intricate swirling designs into the sand. And in this chamber, there are 3 individuals who are they are all sitting, legs folded under them on the ground on top of these cushions, arms folded in their laps. And they are sitting across from and speaking to an individual that you pretty immediately pick out as an elven, like an Ignean elven diplomat or dignitary of some sort. So the diplomat himself is this very like smooth complexioned, like angular features, very controlled expression, this sort of neutral, dignified look on his face. His perfectly coiffed, manicured hair hangs about halfway down his back. It's this lustrous, like golden color. He's wearing these very, very carefully maintained robes, and he is sitting across from 3 individuals who are clearly Naporian. They are, wearing clothing of the style that you've seen people wearing here. 2 of them are male, 1 of them is a female. On the, as you're like facing, so you are behind like the diplomat, facing towards them. So on your right, the individual on the very end is a rather old male. You see he's got like wrinkles on his eyes and his forehead. Some of his hair is thinning away. But he is, you see like his eyes are alert and he's sort of engaged in this conversation. In the center is a female. She's, you gauge her to be what you would maybe call middle-aged. It's a little hard to tell with like Naporians, as they have a lot of features in common with like elves, so their age can be kind of hard to gauge. But she definitely has like a distinguished nature about her, and she is wearing robes that, though the sort of the customs specific here are foreign to you, you can definitely tell look like she is perhaps a spiritual figure. She has these like bright orange, loose-fitting, flowing robes on her. The third individual, who is to your left, is a hi in the background.
Sorry, I was getting food delivered.
The third individual, the one who is to your left, is a male. Again, sort of like middle-aged, towards like starting to shift towards a little older. He has is like close cropped on the sides, and it has gone like shock of like stark white on the sides. The hair on the top is longer, but you see is pulled into a neat, tidy like top knot on top of his head. You can tell, even though his robes are a little more loose fitting, a little more flowing, you can see that underneath he has like absolutely like no fat. Like he is fit and powerfully built. And even sitting there like engaging in this civil conversation, you get this like sense of like almost like barely constrained momentum from this individual. He is sitting there. He has like his jaw is sort of like locked and like pushed forward a little bit, and his eyes are narrowed a little ways. The woman in the middle has a little bit more of a kind of a neutral expression, and the older individual on the other end has almost this expression of like, it's not quite boredom, but it is sort of it's definitely like dismissive in nature. And as you enter into the room, you hear the The elven individual, the Ignean diplomat, speaking, as he says, "There is much to be gained from the offers that I have to make on behalf of the Empire. It is, I think, unwise that you should dismiss this out of hand. Consider all that could be gained from the partnership that is being offered you. You are a small nation. You have no standing army. Your mercenaries are renowned throughout the kingdoms. This is why we are making this offer in the first place. The Empire has been very generous. There is much to be gained, and consider that the Emperor is wealthy. There is much that he can offer you. You could become a much more prosperous nation, and all that is being asked in return is nothing unreasonable." And the older individual, on the right side, he kind of says, "And you are not considering that there are things here in Naporia that are much more important than your coin or your empire's values." The woman in the middle says, "We are a traditional people. Our heritage is important to us. We do not have an interest in being part of your empire. This may displease the Emperor, but you can understand that Naporia has operated as a free nation for as long as our history has existed. We have no interest in joining you now." And the diplomat says, "You would do well to consider that the Indian Empire is the rightful heir to the collapsed invariants. Their lineage traces back to the mighty empire that spans this entire continent. It is only a matter of time before they are restored to their rightful place. You should be honored, I should think, that this offer is being extended to you." And the individual on the left, he speaks and he says, "Esteemed diplomat, the elders of this nation have made our position clear. We will not sell our home to your empire. Naporia remains independent. Our warriors are trained to follow a path of honor. Being sell swords used as the lapdogs of your empire is not of the path. This is the final thing that I will say on this matter." And the woman in the middle says, "We appreciate your diplomatic approach, but we respectfully and humbly decline your offer." She kind of bows a little bit. And that individual on the left again says, "It would be best if you were to leave Naporia. It is an important time for the youth here, and we have no further business to conduct." And with that, the three of them stand, and the diplomat takes his cue and stands from them as well. And he turns and he begins to head out of the the room, and he turns around one last time before he exits, and you hear he says, "I find your decision disappointing. I hope that you will consider the offer that was made to you here. Consider what was extended to you. And I hope that it is not something that you come to regret. The Empire can be generous. But the Empire can also be severe. I thank you for your hospitality, and I will take my leave. My ship will depart before the sun has set today." And they extend another wave of like bows takes place, and the diplomat heads out of the room. What are you doing, Scylla, like after he leaves?
Okay, so the whole time I'm relaying like all of that to the best of my ability to Nymue. And then I feel like I gotta get back because I don't want to like pop up. Everyone's already in the room. Okay, I'm gonna head back.
Okay.
Well, no, I want to see what these people say when that dude is out of the room. I changed my mind. I'm gonna see what they say when he's not in the room.
Okay.
I want to know how they actually feel. Are they scared?
Okay, so he leaves. You stay in the room. The others of you, Nymue, you get the warning telepathically from Scylla, like that this diplomat has left. And a couple of moments later, he actually like comes through the room that you guys are in. He is being led out by like another attendant here at this complex. And the door opens. This Naporian, followed by this Ignean diplomat, walks through this chamber. He turns as you guys are walking. He looks, Nymue, he looks to you. And he gives sort of a little bit of like a dip of his head of like greeting. Nothing that like seems to carry any weight or meaning behind it. He's just acknowledging you as he passes. Thyxes, Murderbeard, and Rowan. His eyes like slide over you guys as if you were
I
relatively
deliberately look
uninteresting
the
furniture.
opposite way. Like
he like as if you guys were like furniture that he wasn't particularly interested in. His eyes like pass over you guys as if you're not even in the room.
I just glare.
And
I don't return the bow or anything. I just glare.
Yeah, he doesn't pay any mind or stop to talk to you or anything like that. He just leaves. And is led out. Scylla, after he is left, a moment passes, and the woman in the middle, she turns to the other two and she says, "Do you think that this is the last time that we will hear of this?" And the older man says, "The Ignean Empire is not ones to take no for an answer. I suspect we shall have to rebuff their advances more than once." The third individual, the other man, seems to have no comment to this. He's just sort of kind of got he's returned to his like position. He's kind of sort of sits back down. He's seems to be kind of in thought at this point. No other particularly interesting conversation takes place between them.
Okay, then I'm spider running back to my friends.
You run back on spider legs. As fast as you can, you pop back into Scylla form. You probably like pass like on your way as you like spider hustle back to the party. You probably pass like an attendant who's like heading into that chamber to tell them like, hey, there's another like group of people here to see you. So you You get back, you turn back into Scylla, and a few moments later, a Naporian like steward or attendant essentially comes in and says, they will see you now.
All right, let's go.
You guys are led into the chamber with the Council of Elders of Naporia, the 3 highest ranking officials of the Naporian nation. The 3 sit where Scylla, you had seen them before. They're like back on their cushions. They're waiting there. As you come in, the older individual, Nymue, you see who you know these people. So the older individual's name is Koshiro. You know that he is the elder in charge of the civic affairs of Naporia. So like agriculture, infrastructure, things like that. That's all Koshiro's dominion. The woman in the center is the spiritual elder for the island. Her name is Minako. She gives you sort of a curious but not hostile look. And the third individual, obviously Ray, the leader of the warrior school. For all the change in his expression, like a group of 6 utter strangers could have walked into, or 5 utter strangers could have walked into this room.
All right. I bow as I enter.
You get a sort of like a respectful dip of the head from Koshiro. Minako gives you sort of a more of a formal sort of like, even from her kneeling position, she sort of kind of tips forward at the waist. Ray is stock still.
Yep.
Watching you guys.
Absolutely. No respect whatsoever. Absolutely. Sorry, what was her name again?
Minako.
Minako-sama?
She says, Nymue. She glances at the group of sort of motley assortment of individuals you seem to have brought with you, and she says, you have quite the assortment of companions with you.
I do. They've helped me a lot since I left.
Koshiro speaks
I
up.
shift my eyes to Dad, and I'm like, just trying to stay focused on Minako and trying not to look at Dad, but I'm like...
Koshiro speaks up. He says, they told us you said you have something rather important to tell us.
I do.
Well, go ahead.
I will pull out the letter.
Okay.
And I will kneel in Seiza and kind of like slide it across the floor to Minako.
Okay. She takes it from you. She reads it herself. Koshiro, like, a little unceremoniously, just sort of like reads it over her shoulder. And when she's done, she hands it to Ray, who you see his eyes like quickly scan. He sort of folds it back and hands it back to Minako. And she says, this is not something we were aware of. Where did you acquire this?
We ran into a slaver ship on the sea. And upon searching their quarters, the captain's quarters, we found that document. And I figured it was important to get back to our people right away.
Koshiro says, this place mentioned. It's in one of the Ignian cities, is it not? My memory may not be as good as it once was, but I recognize that name.
I believe it is.
And Minako is sort of like thinks for a few moments. She says, Do you believe that this is at the official behest of the Empire? Or is this a private enterprise? And Koshira says, it certainly seems an odd move for the Empire at the same time as they're trying to court us for some sort of partnership, don't you think? And Ray says, whether it is the Empire or not, it makes little difference. We will not be partnering or entering into any relationship with the Empire. And a fully trained Lunar warrior is not so easily captured by slavers.
Bite my tongue. Don't say shit.
You definitely get the impression that, like, the other two elders are also a little bit like, oh, this is awkward. As Minaka says, Ray, surely you do not intend that nothing is to be done of this letter. This is grave indeed. And he shakes his head and he says, no. Not nothing. We will inform our people who are traveling, seeking their honor off Naporia. We will inform them of the danger, and they will be able to take measures to protect themselves.
What of the people that have already left? How do we tell them?
This is...
What about Aiden?
His jaw sets for a minute, and you see, just for a moment, he looks like he's about to, snap back at you. But he says...
I quickly, look back down on my knees, I'm like, oh, shit!
He says, those who have left the island, fully having completed their training, act in the service of Naporia. We have messenger sparrows. They can be reached easily enough to be warned. Those who choose to disappear in the night, they have made their own choices.
What would Mum say to that then?
He physically stands up, gets up full to his feet.
Oh, shit. I stay on Seiza, I don't get up.
And he says, do not speak to me of your mother. She would have seen you and your brother complete your training and honor this nation and your heritage. And before things get worse, Minako puts a hand on Ray's arm and she says, Ray, this is not the time. And he says, I will make arrangements to inform the Lunar Warriors not on Naporia of this development. That is the first step. After that, we can find this ring of slavers and deal with it. But there is nothing that a group of outsiders needs to be involved in the affairs of Naporia. From
He's my other
henceforth.
half, Dad. Otosama. I can't leave him. You know that.
He sort of inclines his head, and he says, after a brief pause, he says, You cannot leave him, but your home, your training, your family, these you can leave. And he turns and he leaves the room.
He's family too. I yell at, I kind of just quietly yell as he shuts the door. So he doesn't hear me, but just so I could get it out.
Minako casts her eyes to the ground, and Koshiro goes, "Ooh."
Katsuka. Sorry.
After an appropriate amount of awkward silence, the pair of them sort of regather themselves. Minako says to you, she says, "It is important that you brought this to us." He says, "He is..."
As he always is.
As he always is. She says, "He will calm down in time."
You have high hopes, Minako-sama.
She says, "Perhaps try to speak to him after he has had some time to adjust to the idea that you have returned." Perhaps she kind of glances just in general around the room. She says, "Perhaps under different circumstances, more privately."
All right.
She says, "But we will take the information that you have brought us under advisement. For now, I think there is nothing that is required of you except to enjoy the festival."
I suppose my companions deserve a little bit of respite after everything, so...
She nods. And she says, "Then go. Celebrate. And welcome home, Nymue."
I'm home.
She smiles at
Thank
you. And you guys are led out of this compound. So at this point, it's probably it's been a couple of hours since you've been on Naporia. It's not quite dinner time. The sun is starting to go, starting to dip. So in a few more hours, the sun's going to start to go down, and it'll be time for evening meals and stuff like that. But you still have a good chunk of the day, and considering it's a festival, a good chunk of probably the night. What would you like to do on Naporia?
I'm just gonna go out to find one of those side training grounds and just go punch something for a second and then feel better and then go back to my party, be okay, now where were we?
Nymue goes around the side of the building and you hear a bunch of violence takes place, and then Nymue comes back. She's a little bit flushed.
Thyxes would probably follow her just because he's afraid to get anywhere between 10 feet away from her. He's probably terrified to be here. So he would go with her, and after she would be done punching whatever she's punching, Thyxes would go up to it and probably try to hit it a few times. Very poorly. But
no, your thumb goes on the outside, Thyxes, not the inside. You'll break your hand that way.
Oh. Really?
Really. This.
That's probably why I didn't hurt that guy any on that ship when Murderbeard got really mad at me.
Murderbeard pokes his head around the corner. Yeah, probably!
You see Rowan's hand just grab Murderbeard and pull
Nymue, you have gone around this sort of corner to privately vent your like emotional turmoil over this this reunion with your father going very badly, only to quickly be made aware of the fact that like literally all of them have just like either directly followed you
Scooby-Doo, like headline up on the wall.
Scooby-Doo like clearly eavesdropping on this situation.
You should know that since we all live on the same ship, there is absolutely no privacy in this group.
Yeah, well, that's fine. I have a bunch of brothers, so that's par for the course. Sorry you had to see that. It could have been a lot worse. That went a lot better than I expected.
That kind of hurt.
You need to toughen up your knuckles. Do knuckle push-ups.
Push-ups? Who does
yeah,
that?
on your knuckles. You put your weight on the front two knuckles, and that's how you get your calluses on your knuckles and get them strong enough. So when you punch, it doesn't hurt as much.
Oh. Really? Okay. I'll think about it.
I'll show you how
Right.
later.
So,
Okay.
Daddy Nymue is a real barrel of laughs, ain't he? What a
Yeah.
charmer.
Yep.
I see where you get your stone cold cynicism from.
Please don't compare me to him. Even jokingly, it makes me want to vomit.
Oh, we like you. That guy. I think I can speak for all of us when I said we all had to refrain ourselves from telling that man to eat shit in his own fancy court.
Thank you for not speaking out. It could have got a lot uglier.
It used all of my willpower.
I'm very proud of you, Macbeth.
You should be.
Would you like to visit the festival, perhaps to take your mind off of things?
That might be nice. We should. There's lots of things for you to do and see and eat. Lots of good food, activities.
Would you like to put whatever passes for alcohol around here in your body in copious amounts?
There is plenty of.
I think I would.
Plenty of rice wine. You will find good alcohol here. So I will start leading them down.
Yeah, absolutely.
While we're like walking, we still have our mind link up, don't we?
We do.
I'm gonna like mind link talk to Nymue. I almost said Nova, and say, let me know if you would like to speak about this later.
Probably. This will make getting Rowan some armor and getting us equipped for the slavers a little bit more difficult, but I think we'll be okay. Minako-sama is very reasonable. Just let's try and do it behind Dad's back. Try and avoid him for the rest of this trip.
I am around if you wish to speak.
Thank you, Scylla. And I will take
so
them down to where the lantern lights are.
you guys head down into the sort of cluster of buildings referred to as the village of Kazumo, and you're able to partake in the festivities. Plenty of places to get things to eat. Lot of fish and rice based delicacies to be had here. That seems to be big staples of the sort of the cuisine here in Naporia. There are all sorts of interesting, like they've got these like sweetbreads that they make. They've got plenty of there's stalls where there are vendors who are selling these like handcrafted like paper like whirligig things. The festival, the sort of the vibe of this festival is this very, very much this like celebration of the sort of the bolstering of like the inner spirit. You guys get to begin to get a little bit of a sense of like Naporian culture. in that they seem to be a people who are very, very focused on this this duality between like the physical form, the physical body, and the spiritual, the soul, the essence of both like one's self and of like nature and the world around them, and you very much get the sense that the one of the things being celebrated about this in this festival is the kindling of the inner spirit. So there's a lot of like unrestrained like revelry, sort of like dancing and singing and merriment. You guys can like, if there's something you want to go try and find, like hit me with it. We'll yes end this beast up and see what kind of shenanigans you guys might get up to at this festival. I don't have anything specifically set out for you. So,
I have an
It's up to you. Absolutely.
I have an idea that we could make a game of.
Go for it.
Because in most like summer festivals in like Kyoto, which is what I'm basing this on, is you go and it's not humane, but it's something that they do. They have like a big tank of fish, and they'll have a little circle with a piece of like rice paper, and you have to be able to scoop the fish onto the rice paper into a bag without the rice paper breaking. So you have to do it very quickly, because once the rice paper hits the water, you lift the weight, the water soaks through and it just falls right through. So I would suggest like a dexterity.
Yeah, let's do that. Okay. Yeah, so Nymue leads you over to this area where they have this big tank set up, where they have all these little like goldfish. All these little fish swimming around. And for the equivalent of like a copper, you guys are able to sort of take part in this. They have all these little rice scoopers. And the prize for this this particular little festival game is they have these ornate folded paper. They're like origamis of like different things, but they're made in such a way that like there is there's a little like hollow in them beneath which a little candle has been attached. And you can kind of see some other people have these, and they like light these candles beneath these things, and then like they let them go, and they're small enough that they don't like fly away, but you can kind of like let it go, and the candle within this thing sort of like causes it to like bob and like very slowly sink. Nothing fancy at all, but it's just a little interesting little trinket that somebody has handmade. So yeah, if you guys want to like take part in this, absolutely you can kind of step up and try your skill at this game. Who's trying their hand?
I'll go first to like show them. It's been a minute since I've done this, but I think her personal goal is like 6 fish in like with like 2 pieces of paper. So she got 3 each paper. That is super difficult. Getting 1 to 2 is impressive.
So let's call this 2 dexterity checks.
All
and
right.
we will say for each roll, if you get a 10, baseline of 10, you're able to get a fish. For every 5 above 10, so 15, 20, you get 2 more fish with that like particular thing. So like theoretically you could get up to 6 fish, or if your dex is high enough, you could get more
paper things as you want. Like if you keep failing, you can keep trying.
So we'll call it 2 dex checks, and that'll determine sort of like how many fish you get. And as long as you get like a fish, you get these little guys.
Yeah.
So go ahead and make me 2 dexterity checks.
Okay, here we go. Oh boy. Well, that's a natural 15 and 11 plus natural dex. So 1 is a 14, so close, but not quite.
14's 1 fish.
one fish, and then the other one is an 18.
An 18. So
Two fish.
total of 3.
3 fish.
Okay. So Nymue,
One, right?
Nymue steps up and she's like, starts like scooping these fish. And she managed to scoop up these like 3 little fish into these little like cups of water, which are kind of put off to the side, eventually to be like re-plorped back into this pool. We're nice to our fish here on Delve Requisite. So Nymue with 3 is the score to beat here. Anybody else is like up for it?
Wow, she's so quick.
In my mind right now, Murderbeard is like,
Yep.
I got
I'm
really
up to go.
My personal record is 6. I'd like to see one of you beat it.
6 fish.
Hmm.
Just give it a try.
is anybody capable, before I like see if I have to adjust this, is anybody capable of getting a 25 on a dex check?
Yes.
Okay. Alright, cool.
No.
I have to roll a natural 20, but
Gotcha.
yes.
Okay. All right.
Not even close.
I think that's sufficiently excitable. So we'll okay. Yeah, so who else is interested in
Good, Thyxes, give it a go.
Why don't you go first, Captain?
Oh, you don't want me to go first. You don't want to have to follow me, Thyxes.
I don't want to follow her.
I'm
Okay.
rusty. That was not very good for me. I only got
Thanks.
3.
Thyxes, do you want me to go before you?
Yes,
So you can
please.
see how bad I am? Okay.
No,
I'll pay my copper.
All right.
Yes. See how bad I am? Yes, please.
2 dex rolls.
One's a natural 1
Good. Okay.
and one's a 3.
So Rowan
appropriate for Rowan.
Rowan goes into the pool. She's like, okay, all right, here we go. Scoop where the fish is going to be, not where the fish is. Scoop where the fish is going to be, not where the fish is. And, like, she puts them into the water too hard, and both rice things rip as she puts them into the water.
Oh.
Yeah, the trick is not to get them wet before you get the fish.
I think you
I'm-
can do it.
Is there a strength game around here? And Rowan starts kind of looking.
There is, over that way.
We'll go there later. I'll feel better there.
I got to witness 2 different examples. I
Why
think.
don't- Show us your own personal style.
Okay. I'll give it a shot.
This is when the wild magic fireball goes.
All right, I'll pay my copper,
All the fish.
and I will step up. And I'm making 2 dex checks. Is that what you said?
2 dex checks. I was pixelated
Oh,
on
great.
stream for a second there.
Just base dexterity, right? Oh boy, this is gonna be good. Hold on to your butts. Okay. Well, that's 1 roll. Okay. So before I tell you my result, Dungeon Master, this is what I'd like to do.
Okay.
And you can tell me if I can do it or not. I have a cantrip called Shape Water.
Of course you do.
I would like to cheat and see if I can use it to push a fish into my cup.
Make all right, hang on. All right, let's do this. Make a stealth roll.
Okay. That's not very good either.
Don't tell me what it is. Make a stealth roll, but keep it secret for a moment.
I will. Okay.
You got your stealth roll
All
made?
right. I got my stealth roll. Yeah.
What were your 2 dex rolls?
My 2 dex rolls were a 5 and a 3.
Okay. So, you see Thyxes kind of lines up his shot with a fish, and he sort of like scoops in with each of these little scoopers, and he sort of like goes in like a second time with one of them. What was your stealth roll?
A 12.
I mean, Scylla's passive perception is like 900, right? Okay.
Mine's
So-
passive
Yep.
13.
Mine's 21.
Let me just. I'm gonna make a.
I also have shape water, so it's just somatic. I might recognize what you're doing, but I'm not gonna say anything.
So Thyxes like double dips this one little like scooper wand, and he comes back up and he's like, "I got one, everybody." you pretty quickly notice that like the rice paper in this scooper is totally ripped, and there's like a shaped like discus of water inside his scooper upon which he's like suspended a fish.
I notice it and quickly hide it with my other hand.
Rowan is cheering like he just pulled off the biggest thing ever because she has no passive perception.
Rowan, look at this! I caught one.
One of the folks who's running this little game comes over and they hand you your little like paper crane lantern hot air balloon thing, and like no sooner does it like exchange hands from theirs to yours, like the other person who's like operating this little station comes over and they put their hand in your hand. And they just, like, very gently, like, take the crane away from you.
Oh, no, I really wanted that one. Oh.
And they go, there is no magic in this game. You are a cheater. Dishonor upon you and dishonor upon your family.
Dishonor on you, dishonor on your family.
Thyxes shrugs, sobs for just a moment, and then goes to find Rowan.
This is a game for children. Why would you?
It is a game for children.
The preposterous thing that he has done.
Shall I give it a try?
Give it a go. I'd like to see it. You're good
Okay,
with it?
I will try. But when I get up there, and this is not a spell, this is a racial ability, I'm going to kindly ask the fish to just gather up around me, because I can speak with animals, just inherently, it's my ability, and I will tell them that I'm going to give them a nice snack if they will. I'll be like, little fish, if you could please come gather over at this end of the pool. I have some very lovely food for you.
Make a persuasion roll.
I have advantage using my speech of beast and leaf. Yeah, okay. I have a negative charisma modifier, so I need it. Oh, it's a natural 19 minus 1, so that's an 18.
Oh dang! You got food? Oh, we hungry? We hungry as hell! Man, we've been swimming around all day. People keep scooping us out of the water. This is nuts.
I technically can't understand them back. I can just speak to them. But I like to imagine that in this moment I do.
Oh, you got fish flakes? Damn!
And
Scylla
then
gets
I
in the
show-
water and like 100 fish just like gather around her feet.
I go to do my thing.
Okay, make 2 dex checks. Make them with advantage. Because
Okay.
of your fish.
The first
ability.
one's an 18,
Okay.
and the next one is a 16.
So that's 4 total, right? Am I correct here? What did I say?
Yeah.
It was
Yeah,
10,
it was
10 is
right
1, 15 is 2,
after
right?
10 was. Yeah.
So you beat 15 twice, so you got 4 fish.
Wait, I got more fish than you. That's because all the fish are like they're like wanting to know. They want to get to know me.
Everybody's cheating, and I love it.
It's not cheating if it's just having a conversation.
That fish is like, I'm crazy for breadcrumbs! And they jump into here.
I get the little fishies.
You know, that doesn't surprise me. You are good with animals. That's very impressive, Scylla. Very
you.
smart.
They one of the people comes over and they hand you like a origami frog lantern, and as you go to take it, they like pull it back a second and they're like, I don't know that was magic.
It was not.
You did walk up and you said glub 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 glub, and then
I was
all the
having a
fish.
conversation.
She says. Technically, she's.
Were there any rules banning me from speaking to the fish?
Makuzo, get the book. Makuzo, get the book. We need to search the bylaws. She's
The bylaws, is there a law against talking to the fish?
She says, this is a real airbud situation. We had somebody who trained the dog to do this last time, and because there was no rule that said the dog could not do this game, we had to give them a prize. Fine, here you go.
I take it and I make sure that until we leave this area, I'm holding it up higher than these people because I'm 8 feet tall. They can't take it back from me.
She's just got it up like this.
And I will go stand by Nymue and look at the captain expectantly.
I think it's just
All
Murderbeard
right.
now.
I talked a big game, so I'm
This man's about to roll 2 1s. Alrighty,
see if the
you step
see
up.
if the new dice are worth it. These dice were worth every penny because I just rolled 2 20s. I don't know if I can hold it up. No, I can't, but
You take a picture and you can text me. I will choose to believe you. If I am to understand that correctly, you have... That was 2
You can't really-
25s?
yeah, you can't really see the 20 on the red die, but it's a 20.
Alright.
That's 6 fish, right?
Ladies,
Eyes,
ladies
the
and
record.
gentlemen,
No, 10, 15, 20, 25. That's 8 fish!
let's just wait. We have to wait for the jury to be out. We gotta wait for the...
You can't really see that
Alright.
the 20. Can you read that that's a 20? They're hard to read. But the red
I
one
don't
is
know
also
until you send me a picture.
I did. I sent it in the.
It's in the
Oh,
chat.
I can't
It's-
look at...
they're
I
tw-
can't look
they're
at that.
They're both 20s.
Hang on. Let me open this. I will be
They're
the
they're
final-
both 20s.
I will be the final judge of this.
Rowan, they took my origami away from me.
I'll see if I can buy you one somewhere else, Thyxes. I found 10 gold on the deck earlier.
You found 10 gold on the deck?
I know.
I found 5 gold on the deck earlier.
Someone's not really good with their money. Oh well.
Apparently.
They did shift a little when I
found
tried to
5
hold
gold
them up.
earlier.
But
That man... That man rolled 2 natural 20s.
this is the second time I've done this. Brom did it like a year and a half ago.
Rom did it in order to write the song "What Is Love" canonically in the in-game universe.
It's good.
This man comes up to that pool, and I don't like.
I'm never rolling any other dice ever again.
You guys know that episode of SpongeBob SquarePants where SpongeBob gets into like a cook-off with King Triton, and King Triton is like, just like a sea of burgers or like come shooting off his grill. That's what Macbeth does with like fish. He just steps up to this pool and he's like, and like just fish go like zipping out. Eventually the 2 little rice paper things break, but there are 8 individual cups filled with 8 individual fish in a neatly arranged row.
Well, it was fun being on Delve Requisite. I'm gonna retire now. I'm never gonna roll another die again. I'm rolling ones for the next year.
And you use them on goldfish.
All the things to get 2 20s on. It wasn't like killing a big band really cool. It was a fucking fish competition.
But
Is
And
there a
yet-
grand prize?
You're probably gonna get like the big origami from the
And
top
yet-
shelf.
Yes,
and yet
absolutely.
one of the people running this little event comes up to you and they say, "That is the most fish that anyone has ever caught at this game in one shot. We have had this grand prize here for 10 generations. Nobody has ever won it before."
I'm really good at carnival games.
Yeah, honestly, that's sort of the point, is that this game is very hard to win, so you only have to have one good prize, and then you just keep to use it, because nobody can ever win it, but you did it. We need to present you with the grand prize.
Wow.
Okay.
And they
It's not
bring
like
out
not like a
they bring
spear
out-
in the chest.
they bring out like a 6-foot long case,
Oh,
and
no.
they
Macbeth!
open the clips, and they open it up, and there is a gilded trident inside.
Oh,
And they pick it up, and they say, "This is an enchanted item of our ancestors." We sort of sound like Scylla right now, but that's fine. That's the voice that we're doing. And they hand you a trident of fish command.
Ritter takes it and goes, "Thank you. I will only use this ridiculously."
That is sort of the spirit in which it was crafted, so we appreciate that. It will bring great honor to our nation.
And I didn't even have to cheat.
You didn't. What the amazing.
And there you
Meanwhile,
have it.
Thyxes uses prestidigitation to create a harmless trinket of a origami in his hand that lasts for about 6 seconds. And then after it dissolves, he'll do it again.
Here, Thyxes, you can have mine. I have
I was
plenty
gonna go
of
buy
acne.
him one.
Trying to
Also,
fish command added to the inventory.
Trident of fish command.
I have that on the original Murderbeard, and I haven't used it once.
That's the exact reason that I gave it to you here, because I thought it would be funny if you had used this item on 2 versions of this character.
I'll use it at some point. I have more chances to use it now.
You do have more chances to use it
You
here.
do.
All right, well,
Go
that...
to the fish and go, "I am your god now." And wave the trident at them.
They go like...
Scylla just hears, like, screaming.
It's just a chorus of screams. Like,
Yeah.
just ultimate fish horror.
This is the day of our reckoning! We have angered the Dark God, and now we will pay for our aquatic sins!
Throw them some jerky, like little bits of meat.
Repent! Alright, that's all the fish has to say for tonight, I think.
My next roll, just to test the dice out, was a 3 and a 2. So there, I think I used all of the. I think I used all of the juice in these
He
dice.
rolled 2
You on
20s,
the
and
fish.
he will never roll well with those dice
I'll
again.
never roll higher than an 8 again.
Very well. That happened. That's canonically is a thing that has occurred in this campaign at this point.
I was definitely expecting to roll 2-1. I was like, I have never once rolled well.
This is absolutely true. In all of my time DMing, in all of my time as a runner of campaigns, I run as I was discussing with these folks. I run 3 campaigns a week, so I have quite a few players and quite a lot of rolls have been made. I have never encountered a player more capable of like consistently rolling nat 20s on the dumbest shit that you can possibly imagine than
Yeah.
Russell.
I
Like-
roll nat 20s on things that are not important.
Almost exclusively when we get into a situation where it's like, I'm gonna need you to make a roll on this absolutely like moronic thing that we're gonna do. Exclusively, he rolls a nat 20
Yeah.
for some reason. Every time it ever comes up, it's
But when I do
mind-boggling.
things like I designed and built essentially a grenade purse, and then I try and throw it at the big bad after I've been carrying it for 3 months, I almost blow myself up because I have such a poor roll.
Oh no.
Alrighty, so you guys spend the an enjoyable and preposterous evening basking in the revelry that is the sort of the fun and lightheartedness and carefree nature of this Naporian festival. You do note that as the sun is like setting, the Ignean vessel that would have borne that diplomat here sets sail and heads out of the harbor.
Get lost.
They get lost, as they are told to do.
Is there any way we can see the name of the ship?
If you're specifically like going to make an effort towards that, sure.
You want-
Where Murderbeard? I don't know if Murderbeard is technically carrying his spyglass, but he has one.
I mean, I feel like the captain should carry his spyglass all the time.
Yeah, like I mean that's a DM call. Like Murderbeard has one.
Yeah,
assume it's something I
presumably
can't
if it's in your
find.
inventory, it's on you.
Yeah.
The name of the ship is the Quell Eren. Quel. Apostrophe Eryn. Quell Eren.
Chat says it's Bob.
The name of the ship canonically is Bob.
Gotta redeem points to get that.
Yeah.
If somebody donates bits in the next 1 minute, the name of the ship is Bob.
I mean, how many bits?
Whatever else they want it to be named with
Listen,
their bits.
just the challenge has been issued. Let's see what chat does. It doesn't count if Victoria does it.
Ah, man.
If that happens, somebody let me know. So until chat rises to my challenge, the name of the ship is the Quelleran. If somebody dumps some bits in there, the name of the ship is Bob. So let's see. How do we want to approach
Could
here?
we take a quick break?
We can take a very quick break because it is 9:30, so there's not much of the stream left tonight. I was gonna do a break after you guys left the discussion with the elders, but we very quickly got onto a roll of being ridiculous, and I didn't want to break that stride, so I just let it go. Let's do a super quick break, real quick, just to give some people a chance to stand up and stretch out like 2 minutes, 3 minutes. For peeing. Exclusively for peeing.
Exclusively for peeing.
So, enjoy our mid-roll ads for the next couple of minutes, and just know that while you are watching them, there are 6 people peeing.
I'm not even gonna take the beard off.
Gross. Take
Just
the
throw
beard
it over your
off. That
Yeah, be careful.
much like a Swiffer that will lock away the pee particles for all eternity. Anyway, enjoy the mid-rolls. We'll be back in just a minute. Bye! And welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for sticking with us over the past couple of minutes. As promised, everybody peed. Some of them even got out of their chairs.
Not me.
Actually, as promised, in what can only be described as the truest boiled down essence of the spirit of D&D, in that they followed the letter of the rule just enough to get what they wanted while absolutely playing me like a huge fool. To play myself, too lazy to play myself, donated 1 bit, which technically meets the conditions that I set forward, that if somebody donated bits, we would name that goddamn ship Bob.
But does saying bits imply that it has to be plural?
Listen.
I'm Jason loopholing it right now.
In the true spirit of D&D, in that the players, and as we extend this to Twitch, the people just watching at home, have an unlimited amount of power to crush everything that I hold sacred and dear, and cause me in this campaign that I put my heart and soul into to have to name in canon this ship, the Imperial Royal Navy SS Bob. Henceforth, I do decree, from now until the end of time, that ship is named the Bob.
Amen.
Not gonna be bobbing when we destroy it and sink it into the sea.
For the low price of 1 bit, you son of a bitch. The Bob. So the Bob departed. Bob departed the port during your guys' revelry with the fish rodeo, and it's about sundown at this point. Things are still in full swing. People are going to be up, about, doing their jam at this point, as the island is having a festival. So before the end of the night, before we situate you guys to take a rest and start things up in the morning, is there anything you are looking to do today?
Unless my party wants to partake in any particular Matsuri festival activities, I would like to lead the group to where the swordsmith and the armory is.
So, absolutely, you can do that. So, you, the armory, or the swordsmith, the smithy, the blacksmith, here on Naporian, there is only one. It is in the village of Cosmo. It is a smithy that has been run generationally, passed down from father to son to daughter to direct line of descendant for generations. There is a master blacksmith here on the island. You kind of wend your way. You peel off a little bit of ways from the kind of the main commotion of people out in the streets, having a grand old time at this revelry. You head up a little bit, up the kind of the slope that leads slightly, as if you were to begin to like ascend to the upper tiers of the topography of this island, and you come to a couple of buildings that are a little bit set apart from the others. It maintains the aesthetic of all of the other buildings here of Naporian. There's a lot of sort of slanted, elegantly curved lines of their architecture, but it is a building that is designed in a utilitarian fashion. It is for function as much as it is for form. It is clearly a smithy. You see the forge connected to this building. There is a steady roil of smoke coming out as the forge is currently active, even though it is getting to be dark. You hear the rhythmic ting 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 of a hammer beating against a piece of metal from within. And you enter into this building. It is not set up like a shop, like a storefront. It is not set up in such a way that would lead you to believe that a customer, someone looking to buy arms or armor, would walk in here and like purchase things. You walk into this area, and an individual is coming from a side room, carrying a bundle in their arms of what appears to be like several pieces of like stock, like iron and metals and things like that. Heading back in the direction of where you know that the main forge is, and you can hear that like hammering coming from. This individual, as you guys make your way in, they turn, they look, and they like just unceremoniously like huck their armful of stuff, and it clatters all over the ground. And Nymue, Zen runs up to you and grabs you like sort of like under the arms and like lifts you up off your feet. And the rest of you see this this young individual who bears kind of a similarity to Nymue, though his hair is like a dark, almost like jet black, and he does not have any of the like tattoo markings that she does on his face or his arms or anything. He runs up and he picks Nymue up, and you hear he says, "I had no idea that you were coming back to the island."
Surprise!
He says, "Surprise indeed. What brings you here? Why have you returned?"
Can you put me down?
He says, "Oh, yeah, of course." He sets you
Thank
back down.
you. Everyone, this is my youngest brother, Zen.
He like looks at the group. He says, "Oh, you are friends
Thanks,
of my
pals.
sister."
I've met them when I left. They've helped me a lot. They helped me get back here.
He says, "Well, then that is good enough for me."
I figured as much. How are you?
He says, "I am good, busy. We're forging swords for the young ones that will be completing their trial tomorrow."
I need a favor because I'm your favorite sister and you love me.
He says, "That is undeniably true. It depends on what the favor is, if I can make it happen."
Well, I kind of gesture first at my clothes because I'm not wearing any of my Naporian stuff. I need refitted. I don't have anything that's mine anymore. Kind of got stolen. And I was hoping maybe we could get my friend Rowan here outfitted a little bit. We have a big journey ahead of us.
He sizes up Rowan. He says, "Well, I think that I can definitely make happen." He looks at Rowan. He says, "I will talk to the old man, and I will see what I can do."
You don't, Nymue.
It's
Thank
okay.
you.
He puts it. Hush you. I do not know what your name is because my sister is a barbarian that did not introduce any of you. But
Oh my gods. This is Rowan. That's Thyxes. That's Scylla. And this is our captain, Macbeth Murderbeard.
Murderbeard? 2 words or 1 word?
One word.
What?
Murderbeard. He kind of looks at you. He's like, "That sounds very made up."
I assure you it's not.
He says, "I believe you. Rowan, is it?" "Yes." He says, "A friend of my sister's is a friend of mine. If she says that you need equipment, I would be more than happy to oblige. But understand that I am an apprentice here, and the ultimate decision is not mine to make.
Of course. But you can put in a good word.
He he says I will try to bend Hachiro's ear.
Okay.
He says, but he is, as I'm sure you will well remember, old and cantankerous.
All right.
And he has gotten only more old and cantankerous in the time since you have left. It is not common, in fact unheard of as far as I am aware, for someone not native to Naporia to be given Naporian-made arms and armaments. He says he does not make them for profit, he makes them to give to the school. But I will see what I can do.
I don't want you to get in any trouble just because I don't have any of my own stuff.
It's okay. You
just see Rowan like deflate completely. She's just so like.
And
Oh,
what
God.
is Zen getting in
Oh, God.
trouble for?
Oh,
And like the oldest man you have ever seen comes from like around the side of the building. He is clearly a Kalashtar like Nymue. He bears the markings, and he has like the telltale white hair. And he says, he kind of looks. He says,
Hachiro-sama.
Nymue.
I bow lower than I even did to my dad. I'm like, oh.
He says, I expected to be forging a weapon for you many moons ago. Your father was quite cross when you left.
I know. But you know, Aiden is my other half.
He says,
I have to find him.
he nods and he says, the call can be irresistible.
I know.
Your father is not of the Kalashtar. He does not know what it is to have the spirit to call to him. He is
Maybe you
also...
could tell him that more often.
he says,
I'll tell him that.
he says, it is my place to make swords, not to
know.
influence leaders.
You're
He
right.
is stuck in his ways. He knows only the path. It is what grounds him since your mother. He kind of looks to the two of you, you and Zen. And he says, now, what is it that you expect my young apprentice to be in trouble for?
Well, I was hoping, one, to get myself refitted, and maybe Rowan, my friend. She's helped me a lot and helped me get back here. But she's a little squishy. And there's no better armor than yours.
That is true. There is not. He kind of looks at you and he says, but no outsider has ever worn Naporian armor or carried a Naporian forged blade. She has not undertaken the training. She is not of this island.
What if she did take the training? Or at least the test?
He if you can convince your father to allow her to take the training, then in 10 years I will happily make her a sword.
What about armor?
He said, he kind of like, We will discuss this more later. For now, I have weapons to finish. There are a number taking the trial tomorrow.
How many this season?
He says 4. He
Good
says,
numbers.
if I were to be a betting man, which I am not, my money would be on 2 to become full Kalashtar. But I have been wrong before. We will see.
Okay.
He says, but for now it is late, and I am old. I will sleep. I trust you will not get into any trouble or on my forge. And he
No.
pointedly is looking at Zen as he says this. Who puts up his hands. He says, there will be no trouble from us. And with that, the master smith sort of toddles away. And as he leaves, Zen turns back and he says, and there goes the single greatest swordsmith that ever lived.
He needs
And-
his beauty sleep.
He needs his beauty sleep, or he is even more of a pain in the ass than he already is. He kind of winks at you and he says, I will wear him down. I will see what I can do.
Thank you, brother.
He says, if there is nothing else that you need tonight, I will finish my chores here, and then I am bound for the festival. But in the morning, I should like to find you again. It has been many months since you have been here, sister.
Of course.
He says, very good. And he heads off towards the forge. With that, we will kind of wrap up the night, I think. You guys are easily able either to find somewhere to sleep here on the island, or you're able to return to the ship, no problem. And we will take a quick hop to the next morning as you guys rise, conduct all of the various morning rituals that have sort of become your custom. Scylla with her morning meditations, likely in the company of Tea Kettle, who has picked up a number of interesting new pieces of vocabulary from the Naporians over the last 24 hours that you guys have been here. She seems to have picked up a number of Naporian terms, and sort of sounds they're sort of native to this island that she's sort of mimicking. Rowan with her sort of morning prayers. The day rises, and Nymue, you would recognize that as this sort of day breaks, the barely constrained revelry of the previous night is absolutely done. As the sun rises on Naporia this day, the island is somber and is serene. And the rest of you, Nymue leads you guys down, not to the docks specifically, but sort of south of the docks to just the shores of this interior of this bay of Naporia. And you guys sort of watch in the morning as 4 young Naporians make a trip from elsewhere in the island. 2 of them come from the northern direction. 2 of them come from the southern direction. Nymue would be able to tell you guys, and Nymue, you know this, that they are coming respectively from the 2 temples on the two tips of the island. The shrine of the body on the northern tip, and the Shrine of the Spirit on the southern tip, where they had spent the night before. And they make their way to the center of this island, where you guys and a bunch of other individuals have like gathered to watch, and they are all carrying like a huge bundle on their back of like raw materials, bronze and sturdy but flexible looking vegetative material. And they sit down and they begin to craft what Nymue is able to tell you is like essentially like a small little single person raft. There's probably no sense in like sticking around for the entirety of this, as what occurs at this point is, for pretty much the entirety of today, these young men and women who are going to undertake this ritual to potentially bond to a spirit and become a full Kalashtar. They are in the process of crafting this little vessel that they will then sail out to that island that you guys passed in the center, which is the island that bears the Shrine of Harmony. So you guys are able to like wander off. You kind of like go about your business. You spend the day wandering around Naporian. It is a absolutely beautiful, serene place. Just littered with small gardens and individual little. There's a waterfall with an idyllic.
Yeah, I was just gonna say I take them to like my favorite waterfall spot, and there's probably like a small little bridge that you can like do a viewing.
It's just this the entirety of the island was so intentionally designed as the inhabitants here built their community on it, that it's just filled with these little idyllic moments of like peace and inner zen. And as the sun begins to set on this second day here on Naporian, you guys return to this spot as the four young individuals are like finishing their little rafts. And what appears to be the entire population of the island of Naporian is like gathering on these shores. It's not an enormous island. There's maybe 500 people that live here, but they all appear to be here. And as these four young Naporians set their little rafts they've made with their paddles that they've crafted into the water and begin to disembark, the inhabitants of Naporian step forward and they begin to set light to these tea candles which are set in these like floating papered lanterns. And they, in like waves, they come to the shoreline and they set them in the water. And they set them adrift and let them be carried out with the receding tide as these four youths begin to embark on their way to the island. And you watch from the shore as these four solitary individuals paddle their way out to this singular island. It bears the Shrine of Harmony on it, accompanied all along the way by hundreds of these luminescent glowing lanterns that scatter across the entire bay, illuminating everything with this eerie sort of orange flickering light. And one by one you see them reach this island. They moor their little rafts, drag them up on the shore, and they head a little further into this island towards where you see that that shrine is, and you kind of lose sight of them. After a few minutes that the four of them disembarked, you can see like the dim orange glow that like lanterns have been lit in the Shrine of Harmony on this island. And the people of Naporian quietly just observe from the shore. They watch and they wait. And a few minutes go by in silence. Nymue, you know that this process potentially could take a little bit of time, an hour or so. but the serenity of this scene, the sort of tranquil nature, this peace you all feel in like waiting for this process to be undertaken is broken. You hear first an individual slightly north of you on this beach gives this like cry of alarm, and quickly this spreads through the crowd as everybody's attention is directed sort of towards the northern tip of the island. From around the coast, from out of sight, sailing directly over to this small island bearing these 4 applicants to take on a spirit in the Naporian and the Kalashtar tradition. The Ignean vessel that you saw leave the other day has returned. Bob sails directly up.
Bob. Fucking Bob.
Bob sails around
It had to be Bob.
corner of this island, and you see as they approach central island that bears the Shrine of Harmony, you hear the splish of like an anchor being dropped in such a way that you see the boat quickly is like dragged by its anchor, like turns broadside to the island. And a moment later, you hear cannons fire, and a fire erupts on the island as the trees begin to burn.
No, 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 no.
And that is the end of tonight's session.
No, no, no. That's
Too
not
lazy
your
to play myself. Too lazy to play myself. You did this. You did this.
It's the dark, evil power of Bob.
It's what it is.
Bob is
Evil
evil
name.
incarnate.
It's a cursed name.
The menacing silhouette of the Ignean vessel, Bob, rounds the island.
No, 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 no.
That's it. That is the end of tonight's session as the 4 young Naporians on the cusp of completing the ritual to become Kalashtar in true name and nature, binding with a spirit of this world, have sailed out to the island to complete this ritual. At the last possible moment, the Ignean vessel has returned and opened fire on the island.
Wow.
We will return next week on Tuesday for the Fool's Errand, who are currently in the Volandan city of not Adracolm, Volrenheim, as we learned last week, having a conversation with 2 figures from Brom Replock's past. And then week after that, we will return here for the pirate edition of Delve Requisite for the crew of the Grimm's Folly to see what is to become of this turn of events here in Naporia. So, thank you everybody for joining with us. Thank you for we had so many people hanging out with us in chat. We had Too Lazy to Play myself. We had Sister Skull Kid. We had Dogs for Life, who is always with us.
For life.
We had all bits being donated left and right. We had fish emojis.
Sarah was in for a while.
Sarah was here for a while. We had gold being donated. All just love it. Love to see it. Cannot. Oh, Bob. We had Bob. We did have Bob.
We did have Bob.
We did have Bob.
So, I appreciate everybody hanging out with us. I always love when people are in chat.
Hell yeah.
It adds just an element of silliness to the game that we get to incorporate you guys as part of our adventures. So I encourage you, if you have not already done so, subscribe here on Twitch so that you catch this and all of our D&D and other non-D&D Twitch streams that happen pretty much every day of the week here on Proficiency Bonus. Find us on YouTube. Find us on Twitch. No, we're already on Twitch. Find us on Twitter. Find us on Facebook. Find us on everything that you can think of. Send a smoke signal if you think that will help. Don't do that. Wildfires are a real problem recently. I do not recommend starting fires. Thank you to Proficiency Bonuses sponsors, Little Dragon Corp and Cardboard Castle. We encourage you, if you're ever in the need for some dice or some tabletop gaming stuff, check them out. Tell them we sent you. Thank you to my players. As always, this would just be me talking by myself into a camera for 3 hours, which would suck an enormous amount of butts otherwise. So I always appreciate you guys coming out and
We appreciate you. It was
putting up
so
with my
fun.
Zenith.
Yes. Thank you for DMing, Matt.
Thank
Of course.
Thank you.
So-
GG.
We will catch you next time, and I will leave you with this. When you are scouting out the name on the side of a mysterious Ignean vessel, probably not a great idea to leave the naming of said vessel up to the internet, as you do end up with it named Bob, thus sort of hampering the villainy when it comes back as a threatening presence and a major plot point. But if you are going to do that, make sure you get some bits out of it on Twitch, and don't forget to add your proficiency bonus. Thank you for joining us, everybody, tonight. We will catch you next week. We love you. Good night. Goodbye. And
Hey, I'm very threatened by Bob.
Bye.
bye. Yes. Good night. Good night. Goodbye. And good Bob. We will see you next time.
Good Bob.
Bye.